Welcome back, guys. Welcome to Chef's Quarantine Kitchen. Today it is a wicked, windy Wednesday, April 22nd. All right, we're coming in today, guys, with what will be the fourth of the 5 mother sauces of cuisine. Today, we are going to be focusing on Veloute. Now, if we recall, some of you from last year in class, and many of you from this this fall, that Veloute sauce is our mother sauce of cuisine that is made from either poultry or fish or seafood in its light stock variation. Okay, Veloute sauce is an ultra versatile sauce that can you can do a number of things with it. Today we're going to be making chicken veloute, and also it's good to note that veloute can also be transformed technically into a soup. All right. But we don't need to dig super into those details today. Now, we're going to take a sneak peek at our station. In our mise en place, we have everything in its place, ready to go to prepare our sauce. And even we're going to do a little bit of work on how we're going to turn this into our next item tomorrow on Transformation Thursday. So we're going to go take a look and scan the mise en place.
All right, so we have here our butter, okay, then we're going to sweat our vegetables in, our mirepoix vegetables, okay, we have our onions, celery, carrots. Now we have cut these all into a medium dice, okay. This sauce is only going to simmer for about 30 to 35 minutes, okay, so we wouldn't want to cut them really large, but also too, I don't think we want to cut them into a very, very small dice or even a mince. We have here our thyme, peppercorns, and bay leaves, what we also call our aromatics, okay? And then we got the wonderful reduced sodium, low-fat chicken stock from Shaw's, okay? Thanks, Shaw's. You guys have really been clutch for us lately. We have our large all-clad stock pan or sauce pot here. And ooh, I spy over here 2 beautifully roasted chickens, okay? More to come on those later, okay?
So we're going to start off with some whole butter in our pot, okay? This pot has already warmed up a little bit, so it won't take long for this butter to melt down. And we're going to be looking to sweat these vegetables, all right? Now, we don't necessarily want the pale sweat that we had with bechamel sauce last week. And we certainly don't want them fully caramelized or really browned like we would for an Espanol sauce, which we're going to be on to that one the week after vacation week. We're kind of looking more for that in the middle like we had when we cooked our onions for our base tomato sauce that we made 2 weeks ago. A little bit of brown, but we don't want them really, really dark, okay? When we're using a white stock, all right, it has more of a delicate flavor, and it's not as bold and big as something that has a lot of the roasted bones in there and the caramelized mirepoix and the tomato paste and the real rich wine reduction. But a little bit of color to add just a little tiny touch depth of flavor is certainly a wonderful thing. So onions are going to go right in.
Make sure we get them all in there, okay? We don't want to waste. We spend our hard-earned money on these, okay? Celery next.
Carrots. Now, if you look, we're using our proper proportions for mirepoix vegetables, which is always 50% onions, 25% carrots, and 25% celery. Okay, we're going to give that a little more heat here. Now, like with everything else that we've cooked before, okay, we always want to make sure that we're seasoning as we go. All right, we don't want to wait until this is all done to then add salt to it. All right, so we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt now. Okay, this is what we call building flavors. Building flavors. Kosher salt, always.
Now, with our chickens that we had roasted off, You may be wondering, gee, Chef, what are we doing with this? Well, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. We are going to make chicken pot pie. I love chicken pot pie. And like everything that we've made while we've been on this remote learning platform, I'm doing my best to try to focus on us creating practical and economical foods that encourage, obviously, positive learning. We're reinforcing the competencies and the skills that we've already learned. But also, I want to give you guys something that you may enjoy making at home and that your family will enjoy as well. And that's just, great New England cuisine as well. So, taking a look at these bad boys. Okay, you can see they're tied up. We call that trussing. Okay, what the trussing does is it holds the bird together nice and tight. All right, so one portion of the bird doesn't maybe cook earlier than another. When it's all trussed together up nice and tight, it cooks and roasts very evenly. Okay, now we roasted these in a roasting pan, and they were on a bed of mirepoix vegetables. Okay, onion, celery, and carrots. Ooh, look at all those pan drippings. We are going to use that. In the center of the bird, I sprinkled the cavities after I rinsed them out and dried them with a good amount of salt and some parsley stems and some thyme, and we put some garlic and onions in there too. Okay? Now you may ask, what does that do? All right, well, it certainly helps flavor and perfume the inside of the bird. And it's going to also aid in creating a really wonderful, delicious pan sauce as well, or the pan drippings that we are going to incorporate into our veloute.
Now, our vegetables are coming right along in here. Probably 5 to 7 more minutes to get those to where we want to be. Now, as long as you have your heat balanced properly, all right, and your pan's not smoking hot when you go to put your vegetables in there, these vegetables really won't start browning until a majority of the moisture is evaporated out of them, all right? Any steam that you see coming off of this pan right now is the naturally occurring moisture and water in those vegetables evaporating out of them, all right? As the water evaporates out, okay, the flavor concentrates. Now, we're going to go down with the close-up angle here, and we're going to see where these vegetables are at, okay? We're going to be doing a back and forth between the kind of motion close-up camera and our overhead cam, our static overhead cam, all right? Now, our vegetables right now are basically at the point that I would look for when I ask you to sweat vegetables, which means translucent and slightly soft. Okay? You see those, you don't really see any coloring on there, but you can see how the onions are almost see-through to a degree, okay? The carrots are still there, nice vibrant orange, and the celery almost has a glassy see-throughness to it as well, all right? In another minute, these are going to start browning up really, really good, all right? And then at that point, we're going to add our aromatics, and then we're going to add our stock. Now, our vegetables are really, really close, okay? We're going to put the herbs in now. Give those a little bit of a stir just to kind of let them come in contact with that hot fat. That'll help draw even more of their flavor out. And then we're going to hit it with the stock. So we have here 5 sprigs of thyme, 3 bay leaves. Okay. If you've seen a few of our other videos, bay leaves, even though we're going to strain them out, we always count them in and count them out, okay? These little suckers can, if they break up or even whole, if you ingest them, they get caught in your throat and slice up your esophagus, and that's just bad news. Really, the only time that you ever consume a bay leaf is when it's ground up into a powder, okay? A lot of pâté spices call for ground bay leaves, and pâté spice is something we're going to get onto next year. But bay leaves, always count them in, count them out. So 1, 2, 3. And our peppercorns. Now, these are the last bit of whole peppercorn Chef has in his house. All my other peppers are already ground up. But we did crack them a little bit. Okay, and by cracking them, like we learned in class, okay, just helps release a little bit more of their flavor. Okay, if you were to put them in whole, you would to get the flavor you'd want, you'd really need twice as many whole when you only need about half as many if they're cracked open to really release the oils and flavors out of them.
Those are in. Give these a stir. Okay. You should be able to see that these vegetables have just a touch more color. Okay? Just a touch more color. But we don't want really too much more than that. Okay? We're going to give this a little aroma check. Okay?
Giving it with the aroma. Ooh! I am going to enjoy the sauce simmering in my on my stove in my home. It's going to smell magnificent in here. It already does. I ate chicken's roasting all afternoon, well, for about an hour and a half. Very, very slow, 300 degrees to a minimum internal temperature of, who remembers from Serve Safe, 165. And on a roasted bird, here, I'm going to show you this. When you're roasting whole poultry, the best place to get the most accurate temperature of doneness on that bird is in this little sweet spot right here, in between the breast and the thigh. All right? We use our trusty, handy digital thermometer here, and we just pierce it down in near the bone, okay? Allow it to sit in there for 5 to 7 seconds to get an accurate temperature reading. And we're looking for 165. No such thing as medium chicken. Now our vegetables are right where we want them to be, so we're going to pour in all of our stock. Now, given the fact that we did not make the stock, therefore we cannot control its overall flavor and potency, we're going to do something that I usually wouldn't do with a house-made stock like we would have had up at school. I'm actually going to allow this sauce to reduce down, okay? I'm actually going to evaporate about 35% of the quantity of broth in here. And like we were saying beforehand with the evaporation of the moisture out of the vegetables, just like this, it will concentrate those flavors, okay? There's not chicken flavor evaporating in the air. That's strictly the water that's evaporating out, all right? So as the water evaporates out and that quantity becomes less, the sauce is going to bring on a more deep and fuller flavor, okay, more concentrated. And not that we're looking for something wildly concentrated or super strong, I just don't entirely trust the box stock. But we are going to give it a taste down just to see, because we certainly don't want to overdo it with our salt. Salt doesn't evaporate. It only gets stronger. Now, it's pretty good, okay? It's pretty good. I mentioned, I'm not sure if it was for your guys' class or if it was for another one, but when you are purchasing a store-bought broth or stock, get the one in the box. Try to avoid the ones in the can. All right, the canned ones just have this super metallic-y, tinny flavor to them, I find, and just taste as unnatural can be, and certainly avoid those wretched little bouillon cubes. Those things are gross. All right? Ideally, again, at school, we would have made fresh stock from bones and aromatics and vegetables. And I'm certainly going to make a quick stock with our leftover carcasses from our roasted chickens that are going to go in our pot pie. So we're going to allow this to reduce down and evaporate. And once we get to that point, we're going to come back here and we're going to show you how we're going to thicken this sauce up, which is thickened with a roux, if you remember from bechamel sauce. But we're using a different roux, and we'll get back to that. Thanks, guys. All right, gang, we're back. And what we're going to be doing right now is we're actually going to pull all of the meat off of these roasted chickens that we're going to be transforming into our pot pie tomorrow. Now, you may be wondering, gee, Chef, what's up with that veloute? It's still reducing down and simmering away, and it should be ready to be thickened once we're done with this chicken. Because also, folks, we are going to take all of these drippings and those vegetables in there too, and we're going to put them into that veloute to fortify, or as we said earlier, to fortify is to strengthen or reinforce that flavor. And it's going to give it a nice, good roasty flavor that's obviously going to pair well with this roasted chicken going into the pot pie. So we're going to move our camera angle down, and I'm going to explain the how we're going to pick all this meat off of here and what we should use and what we shouldn't use. All right, so we got the aerial cam going here, and we're going to start with this guy first here. And the leg kind of just pulls right off. Now, let's avoid getting any of the skin into the pot pie. I personally am a big fan of the crispy chicken skin, but a lot of people aren't. So we're going to be aware of that, because always, unless you're completely cooking for yourself, you always want to be mindful of your guests and diners. Okay, so we have a good amount here, and we have a container over here we're going to pop it into, and we're going to save these bones. Okay, we're going to save these. Okay, our thigh comes right off. Okay, big hunk of meat here. That's all good. Save that. Now our meat in our pot pie, we're just going to kind of tear it and shred it by hand. All right, a knife isn't even going to touch it. We want it to have that nice natural look. Since we have our chickens here on the upside down part, we're going to talk about my favorite part, is what we call the oyster. And it's this little abductor muscle, okay, that kind of moves the leg around. It's I guess you could almost call it like its hip. All right, and we call it the oyster because that prized little piece of meat that comes out of there is very much oyster shaped. All right, and this one, I'm actually gonna taste this. Delicious, tons of flavor, very moist and juicy, very nice. Okay, we're gonna peel away some of this base skin here. We don't want that, but we can infuse that into our sauce. Pull off our other oyster. Remove our remaining thigh meat there, and we're going to pull away some of this other meat away from the ribs. A lot of great meat there that a lot of people miss. Okay, a lot of flavor there. We don't want to waste it. Pull the wing meat off here. Now we want to really watch out and make sure we don't get any little hunks of cartilage into our pulled meat that's going to be going in our pot pie, because the cartilage pieces and almost kind of the poultry grizzly, you could certainly chip a tooth or be very uncomfortable trying to chew that. Okay, I'm going to remove the skin. A nice big, ooh, look at this. It's moist, shiny, it's glistening, okay? Shiny food is an indicator of properly prepared food. You can see the vegetables that we had in there, okay? They're super, super soft, okay? And the split head of garlic, all right? That definitely has added some great flavor to this roasted chicken. We'll take all the skin off of the breast here. All right, and we're just going to pull that big majority hunk of that beautiful, moist, glistening looking. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. And again, we're just going to tear these into very natural looking hunks here. Again, we're not gonna dice this up at all, because we want it to look like it's 100% homemade. Okay, if you try and replicate if you try and make things too perfect, sometimes, folks, people are gonna wonder, hey, did a machine cut that? Well, yeah, certainly. I certainly am a machine. My mama made one hell of a cooking machine here. Okay. Love you, Mom. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. Very natural looking. Now, the chicken that we used here, this is what we would call a fryer chicken. Fryer chicken is about 3 pounds of total weight when you buy it. And a fryer chicken, you could probably get 3 dinners out of it, you know, 2 big hearty ones. But if I were to roast this chicken up and I was, let's say I was having a dinner date here, I would just roast one chicken up like this, and that would be good for 2 of us. Now, you can certainly stretch it out further in the application like we are with the pot pie here, where these 2 roasted chickens are going to make us a significantly large size chicken pot pie, which you'll be seeing later in the week. Okay, so our chicken is all pulled now, and I'm going to show you what we have here before we add it into the pot. Okay, so we're going to look down here. Now, we have our pan remnants here, okay? Look at all of those juices. Oh, good Lord, okay? I'm going to tell you that the flavor inside of here, okay, is just absolutely incredible, okay? This is all the natural juice that came out of the vegetables and out of the burn while it was roasting. We're going to taste this. Damn! So good. Now, we have our bones, okay? We're going to be saving those for another use for one of my other classes. And then look at all of this meat, okay? And half a gallon of just pulled up big chunks of delicious roasted chicken love right there, all right? Woo! Now, we're using this for pot pie, but you could use this for stir fries. You could put it on top of a salad. You could turn it into chicken salad. There's just a number of things you could do. A little braised pulled chicken tacos, toss it in barbecue sauce and slap that bad boy on an onion roll. Woo! Good eating. All right? But we are going to take what's left over here in this pan, and we're going to add it into our simmering pot of sauce. Okay. You can see that this guy is evaporating right away, and if you could see on the side of the pot, all right, it's gone down probably, I'd say it probably went down a good solid 3 inches. All right, so we are right about where we want to be. But we're going to get this guy all into this guy, because that is all flavor in there. All right, so we're going to let that come back up to a simmer. We're going to give it a stir. We're going to give it a taste. And then we're going to add our thickening agent.
All right, so we're on the mobile cam here, okay? Over in this pot here, we have our roux, okay? Now, I mentioned to you that it was a little different. Now, the other day, when we did bechamel, what I showed you was a white roux, okay? Where really we just melted the butter, we added the flour, just cooked it for a few minutes to cook out a little bit of the starch, and that was it. Okay, no browning. Now, there's brown roux, white roux, and then in the middle there's blonde roux. Okay, blonde roux, the flour just toasts up a little bit. Okay, and then the butter and the fat starts to brown just a little bit, and it's right in that kind of medium depth of flavor that we're looking for in our veloute.
Okay, now we're back up to a simmer. And like we had done with the bechamel, we're not just going to boldly throw that roux right in there. Okay, we're going to temper it in. We're going to add some of the liquid from the pot into the mixing bowl of the roux and whisk that up into a smoother paste, and then slowly incorporate it into the sauce. Allow that sauce to slowly absorb that starch, thus dispersing it evenly and really unlocking the full thickening potential of the gluten in the flour.
We're going to try to avoid having the big lumpy chunkies in there. OG, Spartan culinary term. Okay. could see that that almost immediately got thick. Okay. And now we're just going to take and whisk this in.
Making sure that it is nice and evenly incorporated. Now, like we had with our bechamel sauce, we're going to be straining this so we don't have to worry about all the chunks of vegetables still in there. All right, there's still flavor to be had out of those bad boys. So we're going to let them come out.
Okay, so now our roux is fully incorporated, and we're going to let this come back up to a simmer.
We're going to taste test this for seasoning. Now, if our seasoning level is right where we want it to be, we only want to simmer it long enough to cook the starch out of the roux so it doesn't have that chalky flavor to it, that chalky consistency, excuse me, that we spoke about with roux when we made bechamel sauce. Okay? So, we're percolating and bubbling here. Ooh, boy, that tastes delicious. All right, that tastes like I just licked the bottom of that roasting pan, and like I had like this giant, like ridiculous Gene Simmons tongue lapping it all up. Like, wow, is that good? I'm gonna go have another spoonful of that, but it does need just a tiny, tiny, tiny hit of salt. Now, you may be thinking that, gee, Chef, it's springtime now, and you're making chicken pot pie. Is that more of a fall, winter item? Yes, it is. But I knew, absolutely knew it had to be the dish that we needed to transform this veloute into when I woke up this morning and there was 2 inches of snow on the ground. Okay, today's Earth Day, guys. Yay, happy Earth Day. Be nice to Mother Nature. All right, it's not supposed to snow on Earth Day. But, hey, we're in Coas County. It happens sometimes, all right? We have like some of the most brutal winters in all of the United States, okay? In case you guys didn't know that or aware that our backyard has some of the most vicious winters in all of America, we do. So it could snow 10 months out of the year. June and July are probably your only 100% safe months with no snow. All right, one last taste test. Let's see where we're at. Oh, guys, if you could be in here right now and smell this, all right? Good, good Lord, okay? It smells better than Thanksgiving in here. I've never been a big turkey guy. I've actually roasted several chickens on the few Thanksgivings that I haven't had to work in the entirety of my career as opposed to turkey, but it still has that holiday aroma that you kind of grow to expect out of a big, giant roasted bird on a holiday. Now, if we didn't have a purpose or plans for our chicken bones left over from the roasting, we could certainly put those in here to, again, fortify the flavor of this sauce and really add that roasted chicken flavor to it. Smoking, delicious, unreal. Okay, my taste buds are singing to me. They're singing to me, Chef, that was so delicious. Chef, that was so delicious. Delicious. You're welcome, taste buds. And thank you, chickens, and thank you, vegetables, and thank you, herbs, and thank you, wonderful food, for tasting so wonderful. And thank you, grocery store workers, for selling that stuff to me. You guys are on the front lines out there in contact with people every day. Hey, a bunch of you guys who are going to be watching this, you work at the grocery store, all right? Much love. Now, one thing we do want to do is check our consistency. I honestly believe that for right now, it's good. All right. And if we recall, the consistency that we're looking for, the term that we use out of the French culinary dictionary is nappe, N-A-P-E, nappe, which means Dakota spoon. You can see where I drew that line with that spoon, okay? And see how it's holding up and it's still glazing that spoon? That tells me it's at a nice nappe consistency, but it's not, wallpaper spackle thick either, all right? We certainly don't want that. Now, when we transform this base veloute into our pot pie filling, it's going to get thickened up and have more body to it from the other components that are going to go in there. But again, back to the purpose of the mother sauces is to have that nice, neutral kind of blank canvas that you can transform into a number of things. And veloute is actually something that is easily transferable to a number of things. You can, just put it on a piece of sauteed chicken breast. You can have this done as your kind of straight gravy to put on a roasted bird if you were doing another one tomorrow. You could saute off some mushrooms and caramelized onions and put those in there, and that's fantastic. There's a number of classical derivatives that you can get out of veloute sauce, and like I said, it also can, in a certain way, be transformed into a very classical soup. All right? All right. Now, this sauce is simmered just long enough that all of the starch is cooked out of it, and we don't have to worry about having that chalky, starchy flavor to it. Now, mind you, again, this sauce is going to be cooled, all right, safely through the temperature danger zone. It's going to be reheated again when we make our pot pie filling, in addition to going in the oven to bake the crust. So by the time this all is said and done, all of that starch is going to be completely cooked out of this sauce. All right? So I'm going to kick our heat off here, shut it down, and we're going to strain it. Straining station all set and ready to go here. Okay. Little fine mesh strainer. Okay, we have our plastic container here. All right. And we are just going to, using our ladle, very gently, ladle it in, strain out all of those guts. Now we got to be on the lookout for those pesky bay leaves. Even though it's going through the strainer, again, we're trying to create best practice and good habits. Count in, count out. How many? 2. Or was it 3? I better keep a keen eye on these. Okay, we're going to tap that sauce through again. Even our chintzy little dollar store strainer here, we don't want to beat it all up. We want to be kind to our equipment. Oh, whoop. Man down. You get out of there. Guys, I think I am going to grab the chinois the next time I have to go up to school. Because this little guy, for small quantities, is great. Larger quantities, medium-sized quantities, it ain't cutting it. Oh, what do we got here? 1. 2 bay leaves. So that means we're on the lookout for number 3. Oh, what we got? What do we got? Where'd it go? It's like bobbing for apples. Oh, there it is. Bang! Number 3. Bay leaves are out. Again, folks, just because we're in remote learning, all right, just because we're in quarantine kitchen and not up at the Spartan Culinary Lab of Excellence and we're at Chef's mobile trailer of excellence, all right, doesn't mean that we can lower our standards. I think I've mentioned that to a lot of you guys. Don't lower your standards. As you can see, I'm still completely dressed. I put my uniform on every morning, okay, every morning, no matter what. Well, except for on the weekends. But I get a lot of funny comments, too, or I did for the first few weeks on our staff meetings and check-ins with some coworkers and administrators. Like, Jeff, what are you doing? Why you got your uniform on? I said, I'm working, man. I said, I need to do it. Get myself in the mental mind frame, all right? Got to keep my head in the game. All right, so I think that's it. That's the last little bit of our veloute sauce in our pot. Kick that over, stove's off, and just shut the exhaust hood off. Guys, I haven't set off the fire alarm here in, I think, 2 weeks, all right? Just because I said that, I'll probably set it off tomorrow. But, hey, we've had a nice run. All right, guys, we're going to give our veloute sauce one final taste here. But this time, we're going to taste it with some of this roasted chicken. Because what better of a vehicle to taste the sauce with than what it was intended to be eaten with? All right, that makes more sense than just a spoonful, but I probably will slide a couple spoons in there later on. Taste a little more because that's pretty good. Hey, check it out, guys. See this cool U.S. Army here, all right? Shout out U.S. Army. We love you guys, okay? My younger brother is a United States Army officer. He's a captain, and he's been in the Army now. Boy, whew, he was commissioned 10 years ago now. So I'm really, really proud of him. And, hey, White Mountains, we love the Army, okay? We have a United States Army Junior ROTC program. Shout out Lieutenant Colonel Gerhardt. Shout out Sergeant Major Bruno. You guys are awesome. And we always support our fighting heroes, okay, whether they're right here domestically or abroad, okay? We love you all. All right. See, that looks like a good chunk here, huh? We're just gonna dip it right in, all right? And then we're going to get a little spoonful, all right? We call that the chaser here, all right? We're going to go. Oh. Oh. I can't wait. Cannot wait to turn this into the absolute most turbo diesel fire chicken pot pie tomorrow. All right. I'm hoping some of you guys are able to jump onto the live cast tomorrow where we're going to be doing some of the mise en place and the prep work for that. And I certainly hope you guys all have enjoyed today's lesson on veloute sauce. Okay, and it's veloute sauce that we're going to be turning and transforming on Transformation Thursday into chicken pot pie. And we have some new friends that we're going to be sharing this food with, guys. The last 3 weeks, I kind of hinted at it. All right, I'm not just cooking this food for my health. I'm bringing it out to members of our school community to share with them. And to let them know that we're still cooking and to let them know that we're doing it as real as we can here in Chef's Quarantine Kitchen in the mobile trailer park studio of excellence. But I'll tell you again, I can't even begin to describe how unexpectedly much fun this has been doing this like this. Is it ideal? No, absolutely not. Is it the best we can do with what the resources we have? Yeah, I think it is. And in reality, that's all we're asking out of any of you guys, any of our students, and all we're being asked as teachers is to do the best job that we're capable of doing with what we can do from home. And that looks a little different for everybody, but we've said this before, you know, just because the venue has changed doesn't mean that the spirit changes. It doesn't mean that the ambition changes. It doesn't mean that the heart and the desire changes. All right? All of those things lived inside of you. They didn't live up on campus, up at SPARTA. Okay? They live inside of you. They live inside of your mind and your heart and your soul. Okay? The best of you is inside of you. And only you can get it out of you. All right? We can inspire you to want to pull it out of you more. We can nudge you to want to pull it out of you more. But really, it's all about you. but you do need the support of us. You need the encouragement of us. All right. You need the motivation of us. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about you. Okay. You hold the power, and you are the controller and the master of yourself. All right. And we're here to try and support you the best way we can. Okay. I really hope that you guys are cooking at home as best you can. If you have come up with some awesome creations, okay, take a picture of those bad boys. All right. Send it over to me. Slide it out onto your own Instagram page. We're going to hook it up on the school page. All right. Shout out to Izzy, who's done an amazing job promoting all of the remote learning that everyone at White Mountains has been doing out on our social media platforms and communicating with the community that way. Just a fantastic job, okay? Way to go, class of 2019. So, signing off for tonight, guys. Thank you for being here. Stay in touch with your friends. Stay in touch with your loved ones, all right? Don't leave them hanging. Call them up. Shoot them a message. Be there for them. Okay? Take care of you. All right? Remember to still be your best, the best you can be. Okay? A change of venue doesn't change your character. All right? Your character is yours. Your heart and soul is yours. Your skills and abilities are yours. Okay? Your desires are yours. Okay? Harness them at home and pull the very best out of you. All right, guys? We're going to sign off. I want you to just keep cooking good. Rock and roll.